40% of the women in Uganda and other countries at large have lost their loved ones and they are widowed. And we are asking ourselves, what are some of the things that they go through after the death of a loved one, after the death of a spouse? I mean, do they go through depression? Do they go through pain? What are some of the things that you should expect during your journey to healing and going back to the dating scene? And my question today is, would you date a widow? And why? Here is what other people, different men have to say about dating a widow. And take a look at it, and we come back with Mrs. Kisuwika Olivia as we talk about widows and dating.
I'm known by name Zubuira Awali, a student of Ondeje, Faculty of Engineering, specifically mechanical, and I'm in Yato.
Thank you so much, sir. Now the question is, would you marry a widow or not?
Now, in my view of understanding as a scientist, marriage, the first component of marriage is love. And whereby love has no control. As the words can say that love can run someone blind. What I know, 100% from my view, someone is supposed to, or there is no problem with it of marrying a widow.
From what age to what age? Because there are people who would say, I want from this age bracket or the other age bracket. What do you say about the age?
Now we have two categories of how I'm going to differentiate it. According to African traditional society, in terms of marriage, someone is not supposed to go beyond 3, 4, or to 5, above or below. For both sexes, as some people determine that a lady is not the one supposed to marry someone who is young, but for both sexes, according to traditional society, someone is not supposed to marry someone above 3, in the range of 3, 4 to 5, above or below.
Is it okay with you even when they have children, or you want a widow without children?
Yeah, before we jump to that point, I had left out a point of another end because I've talked about the African traditional society. But let me talk about even about the white society or versatile. That from the beginning I told you that love has no control. So I can't tell you that some people, they don't go with the age limit, they just go on with marriage. Versatile. That is how I'm terming it scientifically, because I told you that love is a psychological torture. It doesn't have control if it grabs you. So at times someone doesn't have limit, but according to African traditional society, you must have limit, as I've told you. Now there's stupidity within human beings. Let me call it stupidity. God just made us to get feelings of our own children. But biologically, in scientific terms, all human natures, let me say that we are the same. So if I'm paying school fees for another man's kid, for me I can call it that it is okay 100%. Because psychologically God gave us feelings, because if he couldn't give us that feeling to cater for our own children with love, we couldn't care for them. But scientifically, we are all the same. We are all the same. If you come, for example, as you present, I get married to you, however much you're not a widow, but you came with a kid. It is okay, I can pay school fees, even I treat him or her like my own kid. But it was just a psychological bringing up with nature. If God couldn't do that, we couldn't have been caring for our kids.
Taiwa Jimmy.
Jimmy, kati ekibuuzo kyaffe kiri nti gwe nga gwe osobola wasa nnamwandu oba nedda?
Nze nga nze sobola muwasa.
Nga lwaki nedda?
Ensonga eri emu. Emikisa mba nkyalina mingi ekisobola kumpasisa omukazi nga sinnamwandu. Kyova olaba nga mba simanye oba kiki ekyatabaawe, kiki status gyayimiriddemu kale. Awo kyova olaba nga nkugamba nti sobola muwasa.
Amannya bampita Ankunda Gashom.
Ankunda Gashom. Ankunda Gashom, kati ekibuuzo kyaffe kiri nti gwe nga Gashom osobola wasa nnamwandu oba nedda?
Nsobolera ddala nnyabo.
Ku myaka ki?
kisinziira emyaka ayinza okuba nga namwandu kubanga okufa tekuliiko nti oyinza okufumbira ng'olina 20 bawo naafa omwaka ogujja so bw'ajja nga emyaka gimaakinga osobola omuwasa
osobola muwasa ng'alina abaana oba nga talina
kisinziira ku ntegeregana yammwe oyinza okugamba kisinziira oyinza okuba nga naawe olinayo abaana ababo n'omusalawo ne mugamba abaana kamubagadde mubalabirire ng'abaana abammwe mwembi
kati sooka otubulire ssebo ku nsonga ki gy'ogamba nti kino kyensonga lwaki nkola ki njagala kwasa namwandu sooka otubulire y'ensonga
ku nsonga gye nsinziirako omuwasa esooka nti bwe mba mwagadde kuba laavu kyekisooka bwe mba mwagadde then nga naye akkiriziganyiza nange okumuvinga in kiba kitegeerekeka nti nsobola omuwasa n'abaana be ne bajja ne tubeera nabo bonna.
All right, so you've heard the views of the men talk about dating a widow. I mean, those are their perspectives, those are their different opinions. And to you, of course, our viewer, would you date a widow? Get in touch with us and give us your feedback about dating a widow. I mean, today I have this beautiful lady in the house, just like I promised you, Madame Olivia Kisuika, and she walked her journey of marriage till death, do us apart, faithfully, and right now she's gonna be sharing with us. Welcome with me, Madame Olivia Kisuika in the house. You're most welcome, Mami.
Thank you very much,
It's
Diana.
good to have you again.
I know, I'm also happy to be here again.
How are you?
Loving myself.
I know.
Like, I'm not loving myself.
You look so beautiful.
Thank you very much. I have to.
I
You
know.
remember I told you last time, I have a reason.
That reason is where we're going to.
I mean, I am here for you.
So we start, people didn't know about you last time when we talked about going back to the field to search. Now you're searching. And I know my viewer is like, is she searching at that age? So let's get to, tell the viewer our story from where it all started, from marriage. How was it for you? How long were you married?
I was married for 29 plus 4 years.
29.
Remember I told you the 4 years for dating, and then I was married for 29 years.
Yes.
So it was a nice time. I would say it was a nice time until illness came in. And of course, it's that part of, it's also there in the vows, in sickness and in health. So that part was really challenging, especially if the person sick was the breadwinner. So all these challenges come in. Remember, you have to be in hospital, but at the same time, you still have to look for some money. So, but God took me through it comfortably. And like here and there were challenges, but I've seen people with more challenges than mine. So I call mine a walkover. Why? Because my Lord was with me. I really can say my Lord was with me throughout. And then...
So now during the time you were, before your husband was bedridden, how would you describe that period of your marriage?
It was...
A mix of things?
It's a mix of things because you get the marvelous times and you really want you're on cloud nine. Then there are the depressions. Of course, there are depressions in marriage, and how you handle the depressions, you can stay in there. Okay, so you're on top, and then the next time you're in the valley. So you have to know how to handle the valley and get out of the valley and go back to the top. That is very crucial in marriage because it's between you two, the man and the woman. Okay, and it is your relationship. So you've got to grow it, and you've got to get out of the valleys, and you've also got to shine and even glow, be seen to be physically glowing, both of you, when it comes to the top. Okay?
Yeah.
So I can say I loved my glowing, I loved my glowing period,
Yeah.
but then I also hated the depressions, but they were there.
And they were part of life.
And they were part of
that's
life,
part of
and
the
they made me
journey.
stronger, and they made me. One thing I can assure you is my patience levels were increased, and my acceptance levels were also sharpened, because there are many things you have to accept, especially for the women.
Yeah.
The men, I don't know whether the men, we really need to bring in a manner so that they also tell us, do you have acceptance stages? Because like, let me go with her. Yes, this one is challenging, but let me go with her.
Yeah.
Let me continue
But
with
I
her.
think it applies to both of us.
It applies to both of us, really, because, but I think it is more on our side.
Okay. So, I mean, let's go. Now we are skipping that stage.
Yes.
We are going to a stage of illness. And, you know, your husband is now sick. He's been the breadwinner.
That is the biggest challenge.
He's been the head of the family, you know, and your friend.
He's your friend, he's everything in the family. He's the head. You know, the head of the family means he's the provider. Okay? So when all of a sudden you are now
the support system.
He's the support system now. All of a sudden these poles have to be changed, and you have to wear that coat and wear the boots and stand in, and at the same time attend to him and the family.
Yes.
So it was very challenging, and many times, and I still tell the men at this time that be there and be there in full gear, so that when you are disabled or something has happened to you, they will feel your loss while you're still alive.
Yeah.
Because I think I got moments when I kept on saying, you know what, I still want to thank you again for looking after us without any trouble.
It's now that you realize, he's been looking after us.
He's been looking after us, and I haven't
been noticing
all these things. So it gave me a chance to say thank you to him as often as appreciating him while he was still alive, while he was incapable of continuing. And I really think it also impacted on him and said, I know she won't manage. I know she won't manage. Like, I still need to be a man. I still need to provide. I still need to. So then you have to come up with action points. And I would say, like, when people come to see the sick, they leave money. Okay, so I would leave him with the money, and then he would call you. I would enjoy those calls. Don't buy this because I've bought, I've handled. And say how? He said, don't worry, I've handled. And then he'll tell you when you get home, he'll tell you so and so came, and so I thought I should relieve you of that. And I said, okay. So this is where the problem is. Men do not want to be
provided for.
No. It takes long.
They
still want to be men.
They're bedridden.
So then I said, now, what do I do? Do I wallow into that, or I don't know? So that longing keeps on pulling them back, and I think they fail to come up, to accept it. And once they fail to accept it, then they go. But there are men who accept it and they keep on bouncing back. So I would keep on encouraging him to bounce back. And he did, until he finally said, no.
What are some of the things that you had to sacrifice in your normal daily life just to take care of your bedridden husband and family at that time?
Selfishly, I had to cut down on my dancing. I had to cut down on my dancing, like the parties. I had to cut down on them, just to be like, because you come back late, okay, and then you don't know where in between, okay. So, but he would enjoy the calls. Are you okay? And say, I'm okay. You don't have to worry about me. Have your fun. Then I would have my fun, and like the hours would be longer. But you know, thanks to technology, because the mobile phones, you can still reach him, and you know that the mobile phone is under the pillow. I said, don't worry, I'm okay. Okay, and then again you check with a caretaker and say, no, he's okay. He was fine during the day, and we had supper nicely. So you move on, okay?
But
And
at that time,
he allowed
what
me
is going
to.
on in your mind, you as a person?
You as a person is saying, now let me do this because I don't know when I'll do it again. Okay, so you enjoy the little bits, the little moments you get, you enjoy them,
Yeah,
and then so that when the dark moments come, you can still accept them. Because I remember there was a time when in Zambia Hospital, and then he was weak. He was really weak. And then I said, I don't know, I need a breather. I just told myself I need a breather. So when my son came in, I just went to, there's a place there called Cardinal Subuga Leadership Center. And I just had ordered my platter of that one. And I took my bell lager. And I even asked somebody to take, one of the waiters to take a picture of me. And then I just wrote that every dark cloud has a silver lining. Okay, if your dark cloud doesn't have a silver lining, get a silver plate, a silver pen, and draw it over that dark cloud, because I was really drawing a dark cloud over my silver. It was dark, so I just had to get my silver pen, and that was my silver pen. And then after posting it on my status, I felt happy that yes, I am still in control of my, and relieved, because hospitals are stressful. They're really stressful. And when you look at the patient and you're not making any progress, but the days have gone by, then you start getting scared. So you've got to get something that reboosts your energies. And when I came back, of course, I was okay.
Okay, so for how long were you in the hospital? Was he ill? And
No, it was in and out. It was in and out. And ours was not so bad. It was not so bad because he would recover and then we would go back, okay? Because with the heart and the diabetes, they are not so, once you get once his body is re-energized, you just go back. But you know that type of weakness, somebody is always weak. You carry him into hospital and he walks out, or you wheel him out of the hospital. Actually, one time one caretaker was asking me, why are you allowing him to be discharged? I said, he's okay. He said, but he's weak. I said, no, he's okay. To me, he was okay. And to him, he was okay. And to the doctors, would you manage? I said, I will manage. So there are moments you have to accept that spending money here in a hospital, there's no change. Okay, so let us go back home and we continue with what we've been doing. But you have to mentally write it down that
very, very, very challenging.
We are going through this. For how long? You don't know. It's only God who knows. So just keep on re-energizing yourself.
Okay, so what I pick from Madame Kisubika's conversation is sacrifice, pain, uncertainty while your loved one is bedridden, and all of those things. Expect they will come, they will hit you at one time or the other. But the thing is, stay in there for your family, for your loved one, because that is what God expects of you at that time, to support your husband.
To support your husband. And I tell them, my appeal to my fellow women, don't hold on to grudges. Forgive. Remember the other time I said forgive. This is where forgiveness comes in. Okay? Because there are those depressions when things are not going right. But when the person is sick, it is no blaming time. It is not a blaming time.
Now that you speak about that, it takes me back to people who bring grudges even when someone is suffering. Even when someone is sick and they are reminding them, and you're adding more pain.
And that, yes, and you're adding more pain, and you can even close down. Just close in and lets you talk. And now I understand why some women run away from their men. It is failure to forgive. Failure to forgive them. And then you also have your life. You start living your life even before he dies. Because I think your life, just wait. Just hang on in there until you get to Calvary, as we say, and say, God Almighty Father, I've walked my road.
My journey.
Okay? Then you say, now I can start on my life. But don't start your life when the person is still there, because he actually sees you and it's painful. Okay? But
I've seen also people that fail to like take on their duties, especially women that drop the ball and run away from their sick husbands.
One thing we have today is the bedside nurses. Yes, it's okay to have the bedside nurse, but I think you should look in. You should do something. Some particular part should be yours. Okay, like maybe cleaning him. That should be yours. Okay, but like we are busy, and the reason is I'm looking for money. Don't you see? I have to maintain him. I have to.
But Mami, for that time, it's a long time. For example, someone is sick. How do you deal with your marital needs as a person? Because remember, you're married and you've been used to cuddling, to bedroom and all those things. I know it's a sensitive thing to talk about, but people avoid it, and so many people go into temptations because of this period where their partner is unable to fulfill their matrimonial duties.
The temptations are there, but like I told you,
for you, how did you go through that?
Spiritually, I told you at the beginning, walk straight before the throne of God. Try to walk straight.
Yeah.
It is really in your mind, in your mind's eye, but temptations are there.
Yeah.
Temptations are there. And the worst thing about us is not the heart, but the body. The body is bad. The body is terrible because it can push you. It's demanding, but there's nothing you can do about it. So that's when you really need to go down on your knees before you pray for the patient. You really have to pray for yourself. Yes, it is it's a challenging, very challenging thing. But both men and women go through it. Go through it. But remember, your God. I chose my God. Remember I told you choose. I chose my God. I said, let me walk straight with God. Okay? So that's why.
So now you're not pleasing your husband, and your husband is not available to kurunda or doing anything wrong. But now you're walking your journey straight.
But you need to assure him. You need to assure him.
You talk about the assurance.
You need to assure him in words and in action.
That I'm here for you.
That I'm here for you, and I'm still faithful, and I'm here, but I know you. Of course, there's that conversation. You need to hold that conversation because it is there and it is making him sick. It is stressing him. So you have to tell him. You have to hold that conversation that I am faithful. I'm here for you, and I'm here for you. And in my case, it was give me a chance. Okay? To look after you like you've looked after us. Just give me that chance. Of course, and his answer was, no man wants it.
It's very understandable.
And I understood it, but I said, it's not for long. Just give me months.
And you'll be okay.
And you'll be okay.
And you surely had hope that you would be
I had hope. You know that amount of hope that pushed me into anger. Okay, why didn't you? Because I voiced my hope. I voice my things. I'm verbal. I voice my feelings. I voice my desires. Please keep alive. Okay.
Until God decided.
Until God decided.
You called him.
Yeah, but every time we walked into a hospital, I would tell my God that I'm not ready to be Namwando. I am not ready to be a widow. I am not ready to be a widow, and would walk out. But
that was God's decision.
Yeah, man, we went to hospital when I was like saying, no, if this is the time, I soak him in the blood of Jesus, take him. But don't make him a cabbage. Yeah, because why come back and he's suffer? Yeah.
Not, making any progress.
So.
Wow, that's a very touching story from Madame Olivia Kisubika. It's very touching, very emotional. And her accepting to share it with you, someone that is probably looking after their sick husband or sick wife, and the things that she had to go through, I know you relate. And someone that just lost your husband or wife, these things happen, and with time you get to heal. We are going to share with she's going to share with us her healing process, and then is she allowed to come back on the dating scene? Because that is where we are going. Well, we are going in for a short break. We come back with more with Madame Olivia Kisubika. Short break.